best place for your high school football coverage is right here on Tide 100.9 and online on Tide100.9.com.
I'm Barry Sanderson. You're listening to ESPN Radio. Check me out right here on Inside the Locker Room, Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on the home of Alabama Sports, Tide 100.9
app. WTUG HD2 Northport and W265CG Tuscaloosa. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Alabama 1st and 10 on the 12. Again, Houston. He's got a hole. He's over. Alabama touchdown.
I'm just wondering if your listeners know how good a football player you were. I can still see you playing that fullback, knocking those players out of the way. And I believe I could have run behind you.
Martin, I can remember when we came to summer and you were playing fullback up there. And I saw you in the room and watched you work out in the room. If you could pick up, you were strong enough to pick up the whole weight room. I wanted to fix it, and our running back coach didn't take the biggest mistake we ever made.
The Martin Houston Show with national championship winning fullback Martin Houston, giving you 1 hour of intense, hard-hitting analysis from an insider's perspective. It's time for the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Good morning. Welcome to the Martin Houston Show on Tide 100.9 on your radio dial. The Martin Houston Show can also be found on social media on Martin Houston Speaks. It's a beautiful Tuesday morning. We're live, local, and ready to get things going on this beautiful day that the Lord has made. So let's rejoice and be glad in it. Take some time today to notice someone, love someone, serve someone, be the difference you want to see in the world today. Go out there and make a difference if you can. We got a great show lined up for you, as I said, and I want to invite you to get in on the conversation at 205-342-9904, 205-342-9904. That's the Alabama One hotline, and it's open for business. You can also add us on, communicate with us on chat via the social media outlets that you tune in from, whether it's Twitter, Facebook, or YouTube, and we'll work that into the conversation this morning. Today, we're not going to have X on with us, but we'll have DC sitting in for the entirety of the show as we get things going. Good morning, DC. How you doing, sir?
Oh, doing great, Martin. How are you this morning?
Doing well. Got lots of topics we can talk about this morning. So we'll kind of run through a topic list of potential topics. You as a listener, you may have something else that you want to bring to the conversation. So please feel free to do so. Skarbinski writing an article saying Saban being hypocritical, even claiming that some of his players may have thought likewise with Saban's comments regarding the players who have played it, who are choosing to play in the bowl game, specifically Will Anderson and Bryce Young. Hey, we want to talk about that and what does that say about an Alabama who barely missed the playoffs for only the second time in the history of the college football playoffs. No players opting out despite 12 transferring. And then you have a Tennessee who have players opting out. And it's the first time like in a decade and a half they've been even relevant to a conversation, and they have players opting out left and right. Is it culture? Is it character? We started some of that conversation on yesterday. We'll get DC's thoughts, and you're welcome to bring your thought to the conversation as well. Also, Bama basketball falling to number 9. What are your thoughts on this team? And do you still feel as good as you do after them playing in Gonzaga? Did you see some things that, hey, this team has to correct if they're going to make that run? But while Bama sits at number 9 a team that they've defeated this year sits at number 3. The Houston Cougars sitting at number 3. Your thoughts there in terms of sometimes the way rankings work in basketball? We always we were having a fit, or the world was having a fit when Tennessee was ranked in below Alabama, and they had beat Alabama, but nobody seems to worry about that in basketball. Another thing is Bama recruits finding their home, their landing place as far as some of the transfers. And then, of course, we can talk about recruiting, as tomorrow is the big signing day. Will Nick Saban grab up a couple more, maybe 3 5-stars into this class? And will that absolutely shatter the recruiting record in terms of a single class? Pure numbers are going to have that probably be the case, but when you look at the 5 stars, et cetera, it's a lot to think about. And hey, you may want to just talk about the state of college football as a whole. Is it in good shape, bad shape? New president of the NCAA coming in eventually. Is he inheriting a mess, or is he inheriting something that he can build upon with just a little tweak, or is it going to take a massive overhaul? All of that and more is up right here on the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier. Of course, sitting in today is DC. All right, DC, I threw a lot out there. You may have some other things you want to get to. Anything pressing on your mind, or you want to get straight to one of those topics that I missed?
Let's just dive into one of those topics. I think you pick one. Let's go ahead. Those are all great topics.
Yeah, well, let's look at since you didn't get to really talk that much about the basketball team last week, and of course, Bama had a tough loss on Saturday. Comes out today sitting at number 9 in the rankings, but as a result of that that loss, they fell from 4 to number 9 currently. Purdue at number 1, UConn at number 2, team that beat Alabama, Houston at number 3, Kansas at number 4, Arizona 5, Virginia 6, Texas 7, and then the SEC rounds out the bottom 10, Tennessee at 8, Alabama at 9, Arkansas at 10. What are your thoughts on this Alabama Crimson Tide team as we prepare to go into Christmas break?
Well, I see that as a fair ranking. I think 9, top 10 is right where this team ought to be. 2 losses. Lost to a number 2 UConn team, which was a tough loss at the tournament. And then lost in Birmingham to a good Gonzaga team, but a good Gonzaga team that would everybody agree that it's not as good as they have been in the past. I think Alabama's in a good spot right now. I do think the loss to Gonzaga was more of trying to figure out how to play without Namari Burnett in the lineup and what he brought to the team. I think that injury made a difference in that game. I think we had a really good shot to win the game, but we had too many turnovers. I think the combination of guard play in that game with turnovers was a little more than we needed to be able to win that game. Though I think Namari Burnett brought a lot when he's in the game with Mark Sears. He brought a lot of guard play that was seasoned and well and less turnovers, and also had a matchup issue with some of their other guards because of his size and able to get to the rim. So I think learning to play without him in the rotation, it's going to take a couple of games. I think now we've got a few games on the schedules that'll help do that. So I feel good about this team going into the SEC. I think we have a really good upside. I think the ceiling is very high for this team as far as play of the freshmen. A lot of the freshmen really don't play like freshmen sometimes, and then sometimes they do when you see some of the turnovers that take place. So my overall assessment, I think this team is going to be good. I look forward to seeing what they can do to make a run deep into the SEC schedule and see how far they can go. But this team, in my opinion, has potential to be the best team that Nate Oates has placed, well-rounded team placed on the court since he's been here, and probably has make a good run in the SEC tournament based on what I've seen so far.
Yeah, and DC, when I look at it, I look at this game and this team, and I agree that Burnett was missed, but I think that if you look at the last two games, there's a puzzle that people have figured out. Last year, people figured out that this team wasn't very good at shooting, so they wouldn't give up anything at the rim, and they would make them kick out, right? And this team didn't shoot great at the three Saturday, but they finally got it going. But to me, the last two games, Penny Hardaway, who's a really, really good basketball coach, and Mark Freed, who is a really, really good basketball coach, and has been doing it for a long time, has a veteran team, but one scored 88 points without a single three, okay? Think about that for a second. Not a single three by Memphis, and they got 88 points on our defense. And then Gonzaga got 100 points with, I think, 7 threes. So they're still in the 80s, without threes. And down the stretch, when we needed a stop, it wasn't Namari that would have made the difference. We got to figure out our inside defense, not right at the rim, because I think Clowney and Bediako do a good job right at the rim, but that mid-range that the power forwards and all of those were taking and all that, and how to help on defense. I think people have figured, the last two games have figured out that puzzle. And Curtis Lewis said Bama style a play will always have high turnovers, so don't see that getting fixed. So the counter to that is better defensive play and more scoring. And I do agree that we're going to have a lot of turnovers, but averaging 10 more turnovers than your opponent, DC, is probably too many. We need to understand, and I agree with Curtis, that we're going to have a high turnover margin, but 20, 21 is not about the style of play. That's about taking care of the ball. They can get it down some. And, of course, you get, 5-8 possessions back a game, then you may be in a totally different – that could be a 10 to 20 point swing based on you not scoring and them scoring. So
that's what my point is. I think 20 to 21 turnovers is entirely too many. I don't think you can blame that on the style of play. I think that's individual execution. Style of play, I agree with Curtis. I think Alabama's always going to have more turnovers than we would like, but I don't think you have to say that they have to settle for the 20 turnover range. I think that's just entirely too many. And you're giving up, maybe sometimes 12 to 20 points on swings on those instead of defensive stops on as well. I mean, you're correct. I think you're right in that defense need to be better. I think that Namari Burnett played really good defense on that third spot, which sometimes he was on there shooting forwards, and I believe he made a difference. I know he plays guard, but with his length and his defensive abilities, I think he was also put on on some of the scores. If you look at some of the other games that we did win, But I really believe that you're correct. We need to improve our play, and I think some of that comes with freshmen. Freshman play is more tilted toward offense, and I think we see that some great freshman play on offense, and I think defense maybe coming out of high school is not as much, or the AAU ball is not as much coached as well. But I think Nate Oates does a good job of doing that. He's got to coach them up a little bit more on the defense.
We're going to get the break here. We got Tom on the line. DC, anyone else wanting to get in on the conversation, call us at 205-342-9904. That's the Alabama One hotline. DC, coming back out of the break, when you talk about this team, if you look at it, the big wins, what's his name, has been more of a role player. Miller. Sometimes sometimes he has some of that LeBron in him. When I want him to take over, he's like facilitating and stuff like that. But this is a game where he stepped up, showed his true talent and ability. But if he has to play like that, is this team going to win, or is him being in that 20 range and facilitating a better, a better team for Alabama than him having to take over and carry the team like he did Saturday? We'll answer that question as well as any other question you may have or thought you may have or comment you may have. Add it to chat or call us on the Alabama One hotline. More conversation coming up next with Martin Houston and DC on the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier.
0.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, we got a wreck on McFarland eastbound before Rice Mine Road with lane blockage and delays. Rain over the area, so please slow down and be careful. If you see other conditions, give me a call. Get a super deal for Christmas from Townsend Nissan. They'll say, ho, 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 they gotta go. Go see them, Townsend Nissan. Top dollar for your trade. I'm Captain Ray.
Tax refund advance loans at Jackson Hewitt, up to $4,500. Details at jacksonhewitt.com. Eligible clients can get up to $1,000 in December and up to $3,500 in January. Loans by Republic Bank and Trust. Finance charge may apply.
Have you ever missed Christmas? The innkeeper did. He was busy caring for his guest. King Herod did. He thought the baby Jesus would take his throne, alter his lifestyle. The chief priest missed Christmas. They were too religious to leave Jerusalem. The humble shepherds and the wise men did not miss it. God gives grace to the humble, and wise men still seek him. Which are you? Have a Merry Christmas from Taco Casa.
At Lowe's, every pro is an MVP to us. That's why MVP's Pro Rewards members can earn bonus points on select products and brands like Power Pro, Weehaw, and Valspar. Then redeem your bonus points for exciting rewards like tools, sports memorabilia, Lowe's e-gift cards, and more. Join Lowe's MVP's Pro Rewards today to start earning. Bonus points calculated before taxes and fees after applicable discounts, if any. Subject to program terms. While supplies last. Points expire at end of calendar year. Visit lowes.com/L/ProLoads for terms for details. Now through 1/8/23.
I wanted to know why some people who get COVID-19 get it so bad. I found out it may be because they have a high risk factor, such as heart disease, diabetes, being overweight, smoking, and asthma. Even if symptoms feel mild, these factors can increase your risk of COVID-19 turning severe. So if you're at high risk and test positive, there are things you can do, like asking your healthcare provider if an authorized oral treatment is right for you. Learn about an option at treatcovid19.com. This message is sponsored by Pfizer.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Cold and cloudy with some light rain at times today, the high 46. Tonight, gradual clearing, the low 37. Tomorrow, partially sunny and warmer, the high 56. And for Thursday, becoming cloudy with a chance of rain by afternoon, the high at 53. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 42 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Scott Smith and Softmark Design, doing business for 17 plus years, specializing in graphic design services, commercial printing, promotional products, advertising specialties, and so much more. Basically, any and everything you would need to advertise, promote, and grow your business. Through strong partnerships, strong customer service, and creative ideas, they'll help you market and grow your business. Give Scott a call at 205-292-4680 or email scottis@comcast.net and visit them online at softmarkdesign.com.
Welcome back to the Martin Houston Show, the sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team, on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show. Don't forget, Alabama won. We got some great things coming in just a couple of weeks. We're going to be rolling out our credit card promotion, chance for you to turn transactions into points and points into cash. We'll be providing you more details on that. Hey, maybe you haven't got a credit card, or you have a credit card and you're looking to potentially save. We're asking you to take the Alabama One Credit Card Challenge. That is that we challenge you to compare your current credit card rate to the Alabama One credit card rate and see who wins. If we win, take that one card that Alabama One card and make it your one that you use for all your transactions. Pay less, get rewarded, and turn it to cash. That's the Alabama One credit card challenge that will be rolled out in January. Also, we'll be having some special pricing and opportunities for you in regards to equipment, RTVs, motorcycles, small equipment, farm equipment, etc. So go to alabama1.org to find out more detail. That's Alabama one together. What's your one? As we were going to break there, CJ Watson responded, defending mid-range will be hard for Bama because Bama doesn't shoot mid-range. Oates' approach of a rim or three on offense does hurt the mid-range defense. When teams like Gonzaga and Memphis realize that weakness, they capitalize. That's right, because hey, it's sort of like in football. If you practice against hurry up, no huddle, and then you come up against a physical team and you really don't practice tackling and taking to the ground, your tackling can suffer a little bit. And that's what he said to relate it to Bama football mid-range game is the equivalent of the hurry up, no huddle to the Bama football defense 2010 to 2015-ish. So there you go. There you have it. DC, as we were going to break there, we were having a few questions, thoughts on what we left off with.
Yeah, I think CJ's hit the nail on the head there. He is correct about that, but I think those things on defensively in basketball is a little easier to correct in practice than you would in football season, but that remains to be seen if we can do that. I think you hit on something very important, Martin, that is Brandon Miller's play. And I think you're right. Sometimes he has a way that he can take over a game, and sometimes he has a way that he can really help his teammates play better in a game. And in my opinion, in the games that we've won, if you look back at the Houston game and North Carolina game, he filled a role of making shots and getting some points, but he was in the 15 to 20 point range. He was in the 7 to 10 assist range in those games, and he had a way of breaking other players better. I think we're a much better rounded team and play better as a team and have ability to win more games against tough competition when he plays in that 20 point range, 7 to 12 assist range, 7 rebound game. And if you look at those games, there's always 3 people involved in that: him, Clowney, Mark Sears, or Jaden Bradley. Those are the players that he helps get into the game. When we have those 4 players in the game making plays, then I think we are a much better solid team overall, especially against tough competition.
Yeah,
there'll be some games we'll play against lesser competition where he can take over a game and score 30 to 40 points, and we'll still win the game. But I'm not sure that's the best way to do it against tough competition. Now, I think you've hit on a very important thing on where will we go going forward in the season. How will he play and how will he make his teammates better?
Yeah, and you look at it, him and Timmy both got their share, but Timmy had, I think, 4 or 5, I know at least 4, maybe 5 teammates that had double digits in scoring. And that was the difference in the game. All of the supporting cast for Timmy stepped up, and they got it from all angles. And Bama didn't, despite the turnovers. That's what's crazy. Despite the turnovers, they still had a chance in that game. Let's bring in Tom. Tom, you're in on the Alabama One hotline with the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier with DC. What's on your mind, sir?
Hey, good morning, guys. How are y'all? Thanks for taking my call.
We're doing great. Go ahead.
My deal with the basketball team is our more experienced players are the ones that create the most turnovers, not the freshmen. Quinterly, Gurley, guys that you would think by now that they would value the ball more than they do. They're lackadaisical with their passing, bad decision making on ball handling. A 6'9" guy don't need to try to be the point guard unless you're Magic Johnson, and we don't have any of those.
I don't know. Brandon Miller might be. I think I would have Miller bring the ball up the court every time.
but I was kind of trying to isolate on the more experienced
I
players.
agree.
And what it is I think we're gonna run into trouble when we get into the tournament, because what happens is you get into the NCAA and everybody's the Cinderella this. You watch the so-called Cinderellas and these teams from the East, they dribble, pass, and shoot. Dribble, pass, and shoot correctly. And therefore, they don't have the turnovers that we have. The reason we average so many turnovers is because there's no value put on the ball, A. But B is we can't dribble, pass, and shoot. And therefore, we make bad decisions, particularly on our passes. And every one of them come in the half-court game for us. Every one of the turnovers. And it's just a basic, fundamental thing. Coach Sanderson, for years and years, he said something. He said, don't throw it to who you think is open. Throw it to who is open. And Quigley is the worst person I've ever seen. He'll come down. He'll have his mind made up where he's going to throw the ball. And I don't care who's over there. He's going to throw it anyway. And you just can't have that and be I mean, even the people that hadn't seen Alabama very much that did the broadcast for CBS, they were astounded that we had so many turnovers. And if we'd cut that in half, we'd won that ball game.
DC?
I was talking about earlier, the turnovers killed us in that game, and he's correct. The turnovers sometimes come, Tom, from the more experienced players that you don't expect to make those mistakes.
Right.
And some of the freshmen, and I agree with Martin as well. I wouldn't mind Brandon Miller bringing the ball up instead of Quinley sometimes, simply because I feel like he handles the ball a little better. I think Quinley has his good points, but you got to use him in a way that he can, break it down after it gets to the half court set. When he is bringing the ball up, I don't think he's at his best. And I think we have a team that can do that if we would use the people's skills correctly and have them execute in themselves. I believe we can really be a good team. So.
I think Coach Oates is trying so hard to bring Quinley back, and eventually it may happen. I don't know. I don't see it right now, but I will say this, and I'm gonna get out of the way. I want to hear y'all. If you run Alabama deep into the shot clock, when we've got the ball, we're on our offense. If you can force Alabama deep into the shot clock, we're not very good down there at the end. And everybody knows Brandon's going to get the ball if there's any way. If you get under 10, they're going to be looking for Brandon to get the ball. Yeah. And I want to see your take on that. Thanks, Martin.
Hey, Tom, let me give you one more thing before I let you go. Let me tell you why Quinley and Gurley are making the mistakes they are making. I give you two reasons. You know why?
Yeah, they're not very good.
Bradley.
Good.
Right. And Clowney. Yeah. I think Quinley is pressing more this year than he did even last year. And in terms of what's happening with his decision making, I think him and Bradley, to me, in some ways, get to the hole the same way, right? But Bradley is so to me as a freshman is so much stronger. He finishes.
Exactly.
He finishes more times than Quinley. Quinley gets in there and either gets a shot block, tip, or he has to make the pass off because he's not strong enough to finish sometimes. And also, you only have so many places you can set up on the three-point line. And with Quinley, it's drive and kick. And if you got a rim protector, he's gonna try to kick it or you can block his shot. With Bradley's strong enough to finish. And then Clowney, I think, Clowney has made Gurley play better in some ways, but also think Gurley sometimes tries to be a ball handler when he's not. So thanks, Tom. Appreciate that.
I think those are spot on assessments, Martin. Very good.
Yeah, and Virgil Williams said Quinterly needs to stay on the bench. We don't play as a team with him in the game. It's four guys standing around watching him dribble. I do think we tend to go sometimes more one-on-one with that. And then Curtis said Tom is wrong. The turnovers tend to come in the half-court game more than transition. Which is strange. And then last night, Bama's game isn't going deep in the shot clock. And that is true. We do not do very well. And we try to, we want to run or we want to get into our play early. And our play, if Bama figures out how to get a mid-range shot, DC, just one guy, maybe. They didn't have to be a bunch that has a decent mid-range free throw end type of shot. They would add another weapon that would be really, really dangerous for this team.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. If we could just have one guy that could step out there between 12 and 15 feet and hit a shot and know they're going to hit it every time, that would be deadly. This team would be picked up to do that. If they could just find that one or two guys that can step out there around the free throw line and make a shot and not be afraid to shoot it there.
Yeah.
We just don't. That's not what we teach. We either coach at the rim or 3 points, and I don't think we've had a player that can able to do that.
And
so maybe we'll find somebody and make us a more well-rounded team.
And don't get me wrong, I don't want to sound like I've soured on this team because they got beat by Gonzaga. Gonzaga, I hadn't even looked at their schedule, but I remember them talking about it. Their 2022 schedule. Don't let their 3 losses fool you. Let me see if I can figure out who they actually played in those 3 losses.
Well, I agree with you. I'm not sour on this team either.
Yeah.
I'm high on this team, and I think they're in a better position. But I think it's okay for us to give these critiques because I think that's why you improve.
Yeah, they lost to Tennessee, who is the number 8 team. They lost to Texas, which I think is sitting somewhere around number 6 or 7 or something like that. Let me see. Texas is number 7. And they lost to Purdue, who's the number 1 team. I think that's who they lost, or something like that. And they I don't even know if they count in the Tennessee game because that may have been in before the because they actually have a loss to Baylor. So Baylor, Purdue, and Texas in their regular season. It looks like they may have had some preseason stuff, a tournament or something, maybe against Tennessee. But that either way, all the teams that they've lost to are really, really good teams. DC. So Bama losing to them is no shame, especially with the way basketball works. It's so many games, so many seasons, and Bama playing this caliber of non-conference, I think, schedule prepares them for the SEC, which once again may be the toughest league out there. And
the way we competed in that game, Martin, with 20 turnovers and still that close to being able to be in the ball game.
Yeah.
20 turnovers, you should be blown out of a game. Alabama played well enough to be in the game.
Yeah, you should lose by 10 points to a average team when you have 21 turnovers, 10 in each half. That's a game worth of turnovers, and we were still at one point. I think we got it down to 6 and had the ball at one point with a 6-point lead, and unfortunately made another turnover.
People realize that 20 turnovers is a 40-point swing if they hit all their shots.
Yes,
and it's a 20-point swing for just shooting 50%. And I think Gonzaga hit 57 to 64% from the field.
And down the stretch in the twos, I think they were like at 70%. If you take out the threes, they shot close to 70. So this team is way better, according to Virgil. He said this team is way better, in my opinion, than last year, playing deeper, more team ball, but still needs to shore up on the turnovers, and I would agree with that.
I agree with Virgil on that.
Tom is right about the shot clock. According to C.J. Watson, that goes back to our offense being rim or three. We're good in the fast break, and we average to below average in the half court. Our offense is key by our defense, and a team like Gonzaga, who hardly missed, doesn't allow our offense to get going in the way we like. So, in other words, when a team is hitting, we'll have to get offense going in a different way because the fast break won't happen as much. Bama's defense against Gonzaga wasn't bad. Gonzaga just hit almost everything. It wasn't bad when we beat them up, but we let them get to their spot too often. Yeah. And that's why also, CJ, that's the reason we had what we had with Brandon Miller, because we played a lot of half-court offense, and in the half-court, it's Brandon Miller time and show when the other team plays great defense and takes away the shot at the rim and D's up the three by jumping the passing lanes. And Gonzaga did all of that. That's why we had to have Miller go off. Pat, we'll get you on the other side. We'll switch the conversation to a little football. We'll do some rapid fire with you, DC, get your thoughts on several different topics. Hey, listen, if you want to get in on the conversation, you're always welcome to join us at 205-342-9904. Don't forget about Taco Casa, quality, taste, value, under the biggest cactus in town. They've been doing it the right way for 40 plus years and counting. Taco Casa, tacocasa.com.
This is a Town Square Media Tide 100.9 Sports Update.
I'm Kim Rankin with your Tide Sports Update. The Alabama men's basketball team fell to number 9 in this week's AP poll. Alabama forward Brandon Miller has been named the SEC Freshman of the Week. Javion Cohen and Kyrie Jackson have both announced their transfer destinations. Former Alabama running back Derrick Henry made NFL history on Sunday.
This has been a Town Square Media Tide 100.9 Sports Update. Run it again! For more info on these stories and more, download the Tide 100.9 app.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, we got a wreck on McFarland eastbound before Rice Mine Road with lane blockage and delays. Rain over the area, so please slow down and be careful. If you see other conditions, give me a call. Get a super deal for Christmas from Townsend Nissan. They'll say, ho, 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 they gotta go. Go see them, Townsend Nissan. Top dollar for your trade. I'm Captain Ray.
Hello, this is Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show, and I want to tell you about one of our great sponsors, Overflow Express Wash. Their mission is to provide great customer service with a showroom clean car and an exceptional customer service experience. They have the basic car wash that starts at $7, but you need to check out the premium wash packages, which start as low as $12 and go up to $20. They also have a membership wash club that you can get for starting at $23.99, going up to $39.99. In other words, just double the regular premium package, drop a penny, and you can be one of the great members of Overflow Express Wash. My family and I keep our cars looking good inside and out by using Overflow Express Wash. They're located on Skyland Boulevard, right next door to Alabama 1, or you can find them online at overflowexpresswash.com. Andy Phillips and his team look forward to making you a part of their team.
A story of first downs and second chances. Meet former pro football player Michael Robinson.
I wanted to keep playing, but my feet hurt.
And all those big league experts couldn't help?
You have access to anything, but none of it worked.
Finally, he got fitted with Good Feet arch supports.
Let me tell you something. They work.
Now, he recommends Good Feet to
anybody. If you move, go to the Good Feet store.
Sign up for your free fitting at goodfeet.com.
Now open in Tuscaloosa at the Midtown Village.
Road tripping, business travel, or bringing your car in for repairs. All great reasons to rent a Toyota at Tuscaloosa Toyota. You can rent the latest Toyota models for a day, a week, or a weekend. Every Toyota rental car comes with 24 hours roadside assistance and is backed by an entire team of people you know and trust. Rent a Toyota and let's go places. Reserving yours is a breeze at TuscaloosaToyota.com.
Have you been naughty or nice this year? Cash don't care. At Jackson Hewitt, you could still get up to $4,500 for the holidays. Some bucks now, more bucks in January. So be naughty. Snap up all the ginger snaps. Wear a pretty sweater to an ugly sweater holiday party. You could still get up to $4,500 when you go to Jackson Hewitt today. Details at jacksonhewitt.com. Eligible clients can get up to $1,000 in December and up to $3,500 in January. Loans by Republic Bank and Trust Company. Finance charge may apply.
It's time for the Martin Houston Show. With the same hard-hitting, no-nonsense approach in which he played the game, Martin will take you inside the locker room, down on the field, and across the goal line with his in-depth analysis.
We're back in with the Martin Houston Show, man. Great show this morning. Talking a little basketball. We're talking a little bit about you have Coach Lewis saying the Zags shoot fewer threes, so the percentage of makes are higher, which goes back to our style of play. Absolutely. Nate Oates believes in the analytics of points per possession or shots made, and he believes that if he can average, so many over the 1 point whatever per shot by hitting the threes, that he can outscore you. And that works unless you run into a team that's really hot like the Zags. And then when they kick out to a three, they shoot that at a high percentage. And that's what happened Saturday. They were making all of their twos and hit at a high percentage of the threes. Let's get to Pat. Pat, you in with the Martin Houston Show with David. David, DC kept some in mind, sir.
Yes, sir. That hate that X is not here today. But before I switch over to football, I'll say number 2 was one of the most pure shooters I've seen inside the arc in quite some time. I was there watching that mess. Live and die with a 3-point shot is all I'm going to say about that. And we're going to switch over to what I want to talk about. Tommy Brockemeyer is, Tommy's gone, but James, his brother James. James have enough character to stay at Alabama because he was he was the top-ranked center in that class. And we are hurting for a center or backup center. Where you guys at on that?
DC.
Well, I haven't heard any news on that. It's been interesting, and there's been nothing come out. I've tried to tap all my sources to see what's going to take place. I know Tommy went into the transfer portal. James did not, and I don't have any inside information on that. Pat, I thought maybe Martin or you might have something.
I've not heard anything, but you remember James and Tommy were almost, even though it wasn't said, it was almost a package deal. And Tommy was a much higher rated guy, even though James was the top center, Pat. He still wasn't ranked as high. So he may feel like, he put himself out there. He may not have as good a chance. And he may be looking at the fact that Seth is in front of him and he may be sitting second. Tommy's looking at the fact that there's a couple guys on this team that may be better than him, and there's some guys coming in that's gonna knock him down even further potentially. So I think he may be out of here because he doesn't see a pathway for him to play. But you notice he's still in the portal, and I think he has, unless he's corrected that bend at the waist scenario, these elite pass rushers in college will do him. It's a guy in the pros. I don't know how he's still a starter that played at Alabama. I was not a big fan of the way he played here, but he gets embarrassed so much. Jonah Williams with the Bengals, he has a little bit of that too. But he managed to play and get to that league. But I think Tommy left because of he saw the writing on the wall of not just today, but the future. And I think James may be looking and going, okay, Seth is there, and I'm up next because Dalcourt is out of here. So he may be willing to battle it out and ride that second team.
I do know, Pat, that their dad really, appreciates the value of playing at Alabama and appreciates the culture and the process here. So it may be one of those deals, like Martin said, that what's best for one kid may not be best for the other one. And he thinks
I sure
James may have a better chance of playing here.
Yeah, I sure hope so. That I hate to miss on both of them. But before we go, I want to talk about: are we going to get the two guys from Montgomery, and are we going to land Caden Proctor, who I think is probably as important as a good quarterback in this class?
I think Caden Proctor is going to be the one that flips to Alabama for sure. I think that from everything I'm hearing, I think even all the reporters that handle this have got him even a lock for Alabama now, even though he's committed to Iowa. So I think we see him flip on signing day to Alabama.
Yeah, I think that I can't remember which one of them went down to Auburn one last time, Pat, of the duo from Carver. I forget. One of them went down to Auburn. I don't know if you knew that or not. This past weekend, supposedly.
Oh, I didn't think either one of them was supposed to go. Okay,
one of them went, but I think that was a. Let me go down here one more time and see. I think the decision was that they're leaning Bama, and you just want to make sure. That's what I think. I think if you're going to Auburn,
they were making a last-minute push at Auburn to try to get them since they're more local.
And I think the fact that one went and the other one didn't is that one of them is deadlocked on Bama, and the other one is questioning. And I think it was the linebacker that went, and the D lineman I think is pretty sure. So
for what it's worth, both of them are crystal balled to Alabama right now.
I know, yeah. That was Aiden saying that they both are right now trending to Alabama, and like I said, and I think that was a, man, this is a big decision. We said we were going to do this together. One likes Auburn a little bit more than Alabama, but they both like Bama, and I think the guy had to go down one more time just to make sure. That's what I think. I could see that as a recruit, me thinking about, man, I'm personally, I like this better, but I think I like playing with my boy. And if he's going to Bama is a pretty good choice. So let me check it out. So I think that's what happened, Pat. But I think we'll get both of those guys. And I think we'll get Proctor. And I think that Alabama may end up with 3 or 4 more 5 stars than what we currently have in this class, which is absolutely crazy. So
I agree. I was just fixing to say, Pat, on signing day when all said and done, we might have 3 more 5 stars that we have already now. I think Georgia may get a couple of 5 stars. Yeah. It's going to be Alabama, Georgia 1-2 this year.
Yes, sir. But the biggest thing I see that is wide receiver is going to get a lot of help from the JUCO ranks, but wide receiver is going to get a whole lot of help from down in Texas at Plainview. That this Hale kid out of Plainview, Texas, everything that I've heard Drew DeOrman and I've been talking about, this guy is a stud that's coming out of Plainview, Texas. And y'all got to trust the process of wide receiver.
I think I'll take that JUCO. I think I'll take that JUCO guy right now too, Pat, because he's a little older, a little more mature, and was a guy who was really good, but didn't get as much notoriety. Talking about Benson coming out of high school because of the style of play. Do you remember this guy that went to Georgia that played in an option offense and people were looking at stats and all of that? What was his name? Megatron?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying this kid's a Megatron, but I'm saying that sometimes coaches miss out on kids' talent because they don't have the stats and opportunities. And I think this kid, the top wide receiver out of JUCO, may be one of those. Had to get the break here, Pat, but appreciate that, man. Thank you, sir.
Have a blessed day, fellas.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Coming back on the other side, we'll put the finishing touches on this edition of the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier with DC Capstone Report.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, no active wrecks or delays in the area. The roadways are wet this morning, so please slow down, drive carefully, and if you see conditions, just give me a call. Get a super deal for Christmas from Townsend Nissan. They'll say, ho, 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 they gotta go. Go see them, Townsend Nissan. Top dollar for your trade. I'm Captain Ray.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa thread.
Good Tuesday morning. Get ready. The cold is coming. Thursday rain will occur as an Arctic front moves into the state. ABC 3340 meteorologist Taylor Sorello tells us the switch will become obvious.
That cold front could cause a brief changeover to some flurries overnight Thursday into Friday. No impacts from that. The big story this week is going to be the cold temperatures that we have in our area between Friday and Sunday. We could go a full 72 hours without temperatures reaching above the freezing mark.
We'll keep you updated. I'm Don Hartwig.
Hello, this is Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show, and I want to tell you about Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing. If you're looking for a way to add value to your home, make your flower beds pop, make your landscaping stand out from your neighbors, then Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing can help you do just that. They have numerous styles, but they feature the Moroccan Stone Curb series, which includes 4 great styles and unlimited color choices. That's Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing. They are the one that can help you stand out from your neighbors. Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing, 205-331-6823. You may also find yourself with the need for a custom size stone or custom shaped stone. Then Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing can help with that as well. Paul Fuller and his team are waiting on your call right now for that free quote. And if you tell them that Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show told you to stop by, you'll get a big discount. So call Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing at 205-331-6823 or visit them online at Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing, LLC.
At Academy Sports and Outdoors, get a free University of Alabama backpack when you spend $50 or more on officially licensed Bama gear. This offer is exclusive to the Tuscaloosa store at 710 Skyland Boulevard. They carry all the gear you need from the top brands, all at prices you'll love. And now, shopping at Academy is more convenient than ever. They offer free assembly on in-store purchases of most bikes and grills, plus free and easy curbside pickup on academy.com orders. Save time and money at Academy Sports and Outdoors and have fun out there.
The sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team. The Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier. We got DC sitting in today as a full-fledged co-host as Xavier is out on assignment today. We had a great show, talked a little basketball, talked a little recruiting. We had a little time for rapid fire with DC, but real quick, DC, tell them where they can find you each and every week.
Well, you can find me at DCCapstoneReport.com, DC Capstone Report Facebook page. Also follow our other sites that Lance has at freelancepictures.com and rolltidebama.com.
All right. DC, Kevin Skarbinski is saying that there's some there's some situations going on with Nick Saban being hypocritical because of his approach or his thoughts on comments on Will Anderson, Bryce Young, and others playing that's contrary or inconsistent with him telling the other players, go get yours if you are considered a first rounder. Do you agree with that statement or not?
I don't agree with that statement that Kevin Skarbinski makes. I don't think there's any inconsistency in that at all. I think he's making a comment there to individuals who want to make a choice. He leaves it up to the individual. He tells them if they want to play, they should play. It creates value for themselves. If they tell them if they want to go to the NFL, they could go to the NFL and feel good about either choice they make. But when a player chooses to do something for the team, I think he, as any coach would do, wants to talk about that and laud that because that's a decision that's team-based and it makes good. wants to laud that as well because he's always told everyone to come here and we'll get you to the NFL. So I don't think there's any inconsistency at all. It's just an individual case-by-case basis, but based on what the choice is.
I totally agree. I don't see how if other players are trying to compare this to him telling first rounders to go ahead and leave, it's totally different. He's not told any kid to skip a bowl game or any kid to not play in their final game. And this is really, since this whole trend of kids opting out, this is the first time Bama's been faced with this. So to try to make this the same as him telling a kid that is a first, second rounder playing after a national championship, college football playoffs, or the BCS is the same as kids making a decision whether they play in a bowl game or not. It's totally different. I don't think Saban's ever told a kid to not finish with his team. He could have, but I don't think so. I think that they're stretching to try to make that tie in. What do you think about where some of these guys have landed? Has Nick Saban, he's still dominant on recruiting kids out of high school, DC, but is he going to now have to figure out how to recruit kids to stay here because his other coaches around the country may not beat him in the high school ranks, but may poach his roster?
I think that's something you have to adjust because right now in the state we're in with NIL and with transfer portal, if you don't get enough playing time where you are, you can go somewhere else, and they can use that against you if you don't play here. But look at the places where people have landed. We got Kyrie Jackson who's landed in Oregon. I don't think there's anything wrong with that decision to go there. We got another wide receiver going to Oregon. We got Xavier going to Miami with the Mario Cristobal. I think you had some people that he knows there. Then you got Aaron Anderson going to a hometown back to LSU. He set out a whole year, hurt himself, probably getting around closer to family. So I think there's reasons for some of these transfers that may be personal. It doesn't matter what Coach Saban would have said.
Yeah, when you think about it, Oregon has a tie back to Alabama via Kirby and Bama. You got Cristobal in Miami. Don't underestimate Deion's connection with Trey Sanders going to Colorado. Don't underestimate that Saban may not have even helped facilitate that. So it's going to be interesting to watch. We got to get out of here. DC, great follow at David Cott 50, DCCapstoneReport.com. He'll be back with us on next week. We'll continue it. And DC, I know you got something you want to tell everybody real quick before regarding that big holiday.
Christmas is my favorite. Christmas is my favorite time of the year, Martin. There's no Christmas without Christ. The best decision I ever made was accept Jesus Christ as my Savior. And I hope everyone will have an opportunity to worship the Christ that we celebrate at Christmas time. And if you don't have any place to do that, I want to invite everybody to come out to Harvest Church tomorrow night at 6:30. We have a great Christmas service. We're going to have a lot of fun worshiping our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. So come out and join us. We're right across the road from the Dollar General in Coker, Alabama.
All right, roll tide out there, everybody. Trust in the Lord always. Lean not your own understanding. All your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths. Roll tide out there and have a blessed day to all of you who have been a part of today's program. Thank you, Aiden, and we'll catch you on the flip side.
Thank you for listening to the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.